Language.
It's the Friday Sports Bar with Dom Aldworth on Talk Radio Europe.
Well, good evening and welcome back to the Friday Night Sports Bar. On the 28th of this month at Wembley, the NFL comes to the UK, the brand of NFL football, and that will be the Rams taking on the Patriots. Something a little bit different for you guys this evening. It's my great pleasure to have on the line Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back Earnest Graham joins me from Florida. Ernest, a warm welcome to the show this evening.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Ernest, well, this evening in our part of the world, obviously midday or lunchtime there around for you guys. Big weekend of NFL, week 6 of NFL, which began last night. You guys are in action, Tampa Bay, at home against Kansas City. But let's just give the listeners out there a bit of insight into your career. Of course, it's something I know about as an NFL fan. You've been at Tampa Bay now for, the last 10 years or so. You're a running back and also in the special teams as a fullback. Just for the European listeners out there who might not be up to speed with NFL, just tell us what that's all about, please, Ernest.
I just had a fantastic time, man, being a part of the, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization. I started out being an undrafted player, meaning that I did not go on the NFL draft, and, I worked my way up through the charts, through playing special teams, through playing many positions. When my career first started, man, I was, me and my family were actually without a place to stay. We slept in our car, went from home to home, and football was something that I wanted to, that I was trying to achieve. I was trying to be a professional football player, and I was able to do that, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did a great job as far as, telling me what they wanted from me. And, as a professional, I tried to make that happen, and God willing, I did. I was fortunate enough to, to play for 9 years. I had a great time. I've been to London twice. I've seen so much, because of this great football game, man. So it's truly been a journey for me and my family, and I've enjoyed every second of it.
It's been a long career for you, 10 years. How's the body holding up?
Feel good. I feel really, really good, man. I work out as usual. It feels good. You wouldn't think so, playing running back for as long as I did. It's definitely a brutal position. I was an undersized fullback and, average speed tailback, but I've been able to play at a high level, for a long time, man. So I'm feeling okay right now.
Ernest, you mentioned something there. You've been to London a couple of times. On the 28th of this month, you got the Rams versus the Patriots. And only yesterday there was a big announcement that the 49ers will be taking on the Jaguars next season. How do you guys as players in the NFL view playing your regular season, some of your regular season matches at fixtures like Wembley?
You know what? I actually loved it. I loved the chance I got to come over to see a different culture, different, kind of a different way of life, to take in London. I actually, took the train over to Paris. So I got a good chance to see that side of the world, and I enjoyed every second of it. I'm actually an avid tea drinker. Working my way towards being a tea connoisseur, right now. So, man, I really enjoyed it. It gives us a chance. I've been playing football since I had been playing football since I was 6 years old. So with that, you get a very little, chance to see, a lot of different players, parts of the world, let alone, play in a stadium, such as Wembley. So, it was an incredible achievement for me and likewise for my teammates.
Ernest, I've got a gentleman in the studio that's joining me here today, Richard Tilsley. Richard would like to fire a question your way, if he may.
Yeah, hi. There's been so many great famous running backs in American football. People like Walter Payton or John Riggins. And which of these great players from the past, perhaps inspired you?
I think my favorite running back, I definitely think, Walter Payton was, an unbelievable player. The consummate team guy. He did everything well, pass, catch, block, as well as just, the way he ran the football, the authority he ran the football with. I think Barry Sanders was, the best pure runner, to ever put on football pads. I just truly think that. I think he could have probably, played a number of sports. I also am a big fan of Curtis Martin, who played for the New York Jets for a long time. I know a lot of names I might mention, everyone might not know, but it was quite a few guys that have played the running back position at a very, very high level. Of course, Emmitt Smith. We both went to the University of Florida. He was one of my favorites. So there's a lot of guys that have played this game in a great fashion, but those are a few that I really enjoy watching.
Well, you mentioned Barry Sanders, and compared to a lot of running backs, he seems quite a lot smaller than his contemporaries.
He was, but his agility, his instincts were far far more advanced than pretty much any running back that has ever played a game of football. I just don't think anybody's quite done some of the things that Barry Sanders has done, on a football field. A guy that just takes your breath away when you see him, run the football. That was Barry Sanders. A lot of guys are, speed guys, they're stronger guys, but, he's one of those guys who just has, some natural instincts and natural ability that, a lot of guys that have, played this game don't have. So, I think in my mind he's the number one runner, just pure runner. He may not be on top of the rushing list, but he's the number one, just pure runner, I've ever seen play football.
Yeah, I can recall some of the touchdowns he scored, and absolutely amazing running skills.
Amazing, yeah, amazing, truly amazing.
Ernest, let's just turn our attention, if we may, to the NFL season to date. Coming up into Week 6 this weekend, some big matches there, but one which really caught my eye. Well, let's still talk about some of the performances of individual players and just get your opinion as well. A great start to the season by the Atlanta Falcons, 5-0, unbeaten, alongside Houston as well, the only other unbeaten side. Matt Ryan there performing very well for the Falcons, especially last week against the Redskins. He's now 13 touchdowns with 1,507 yards. He's performed very well. Of course, you've got from the Broncos, Peyton Manning. We all know his credentials. But one quarterback that really has caught my eye, and that's Baltimore, who currently stand with a record at 4-1, and that's Joe Flacco. Has had an absolutely outstanding season and combining exceptionally well with receiver Torrey Smith as well.
Yes, he's played very, very well. All those teams that you mentioned are playing some good football right now. In my opinion, the San Francisco 49ers probably, are playing the best football, NFL right now. I think one team you got to watch out for is the Cincinnati Bengals. I think, they get better and better, as the season goes on. I think there's a lot of teams out there really, playing some good football. But, the one thing about the NFL, man, is it's a long season. Some teams that start out well, end up getting fatigued, and down the stretch they don't play so well. So it's all about who's going to play that good football going into the end of the season and take that momentum into the playoffs. And typically it's the teams that can really are playing some really physical defense, that is healthy naturally, and who are just hitting on all cylinders when the playoffs come around. So those are definitely some teams that are playing really well. I thought Houston was probably one of the best teams in the NFL last year. And, I think as long as their quarterback, stays healthy, I think they make a long run. I think really, it's their time now to really step up as one of the elite teams in the NFL. So I'm just definitely looking forward to see who emerges, this NFL season.
Well, you threw one of the names in the hat there, the San Francisco 49ers. They're in action this weekend at home against the New York Giants, the Super Bowl champions. There's been a lot of talk stateside that the NFC West is probably one of the toughest groups in the competition there. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I actually thought the NFC South was going to be a little better this year. It hasn't gone that way just yet. Cam Newton isn't having, the best year. Of course, the Bucs aren't playing like they would like to play. So, and of course, New Orleans is having a down year with what happened. So, the NFL is a game like that. In the offseason, a lot of teams make a lot of acquisitions. Some teams who had terrible years, they all of a sudden bounce back and play some better football the next year. Is really what 53 guys determine in the offseason that they're going to get done, and how much they truly believe it and approach it that way every day in practice and every Sunday. That's the NFL that we play in. It's year to year. You never know who's going to emerge and who's going to play football. It's all about want to, and a lot of these teams get in their head that they can get it done, and I think you're going to see those top teams continue to play well, but then I think you're going to see some teams who get a chemistry and find themselves in the playoff picture like the Seahawks have done the last couple of years, and they're playing some good football right now, so they're another team to watch out for.
Talking about the 49ers, much in the early part of the season, and their performance has depended on Frank Gore. Yeah,
without a doubt. Frank Gore is a guy who's played at a high level for a long, long time. He's actually another guy who's a pure runner that, has fantastic instincts. You know, the 49ers actually have the luxury, you know, right now to not have played Randy Moss, to not have played Brandon Jacobs and still be playing some fantastic football. So, you know, they're a team that's going to be fresh, you know, here at the end of the season. They got some guys who are sitting out who are going to be able to come in and fill some crucial roles. You know, when we get into the winter and you have to be able to pound the ball out and play some tough physical football in the playoffs. So, you know, those guys are really sitting in great position right now.
Before we let you go, it's been fantastic to hear from you as well about the NFL, about your career as well. I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit, if I can, Ernest. I've actually picked out 5 fixtures for NFL Sunday, 5 games, which I want you to give your prediction, Earnest Graham's prediction, on which direction he thinks that these games are going to head this weekend. The first fixture I've picked up is Oakland at Atlanta. Atlanta looking to extend their unbeaten run. Oakland struggling with 1-3. What's your decision on that game?
I got Atlanta winning big.
Atlanta to win big, to continue their unbeaten run there. Dallas make the trip to Baltimore. Baltimore 4-1. We've mentioned Flacco. We've mentioned Torrey Smith in their form. Who do you reckon is going to come out on top in that game?
Baltimore. I think, is the more disciplined team. Of course, I love Ray Rice. I love what their team is doing right now. I think Baltimore definitely wins that one.
We had to throw in your home team. You guys are at home this weekend against the struggling Kansas City Chiefs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I expect you to only go for one winner in this game.
That's right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
New York Giants and San Francisco 49ers, the defending Super Bowl champions, against one side that you said that you could clearly see in the Super Bowl this season, the 49ers. Who are you going to go with?
I think I'm actually going to go with the Giants this weekend, though. I see the 49ers playing for it all, but I see the Giants winning this weekend.
One side that you've been very impressed with, you thought they were the best side in the NFL last year in the regular season. Green Bay traveled to Houston. Houston again with an unbeaten record alongside Atlanta. I assume you're going to go with Houston on that one.
Houston wins that game because Houston can run the heck out of the football, man. I like Houston.
Well, listen, Ernest, we've taken up more than enough of your time. I could probably take up at least another hour talking NFL with you, but thanks so much for taking time out to have a chat with us. Best of luck to the Buccaneers, to you guys for this weekend and NFL Sunday. We'll be looking forward to following your fortunes throughout the season.
All right, thank you. Talk to you soon.
Cheers. Thanks so much.